Hello, Year 4, last maths lesson. Those 10 lessons have zoomed by, haven't they? Okay, here we go. What's happening today? Know what happens, don't we? Have a look, see what we're learning about. So, today, if you remember at the end of yesterday, I said we were going to take all those skills, so nothing new today. We're going to take all those skills we've got from the previous 9 lessons and we're going to use them to help us solve some problems. And we need most of the usual things. So our pencil, our maths book, a marking pen. Today, a couple of different things. So the first thing you need is 2 sets of 0 to 9 cards. So you need the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on separate cards twice. Or if you've got your playing cards around because of the number of times we've used those, if you just take 2 suits, so I've just taken the hearts and the clubs, and if you take those, you need ace to 10. So the ace is 1 and the 10 is going to be 0. Okay, and we need all the digits from 0 to 9 twice for our task at the end. The other thing we need for our task at the end, if you can manage it, is somebody. So that somebody might be an older brother or sister, it might be a grandparent, it might be whoever's looking after you in the house right now, just to come and sit with you for 5 minutes and see if they can challenge you to the task that's at the end of the lesson, okay? And if they're coming to challenge you, they will need their own set of cards, okay? So they will need the other half of the set of playing cards from ace to 10, or just make them some 0 to 9 cards, and they need 2 noughts, 2 ones, 2 twos, and so on. If you haven't got anybody, don't worry, you can still have a go at the task, and then you can compare your results to a friend in your class when you go back to school. So we are starting with the ladder again, but this time I've called it ladder extreme. So we're taking it a step further. So yesterday we were trying to add on, weren't we, and take away tens, hundreds and thousands. Today, we're going to do that, but we're also going to do something even harder. We're going to round some of the numbers to the nearest thousand as well. So I will give you an instruction again, and you will have to do that to the number that I show you on the screen. So we're going to create 4-digit numbers, but you might have to alter that number depending on what I say to you. So get your ladder drawn. Remember, 2 lines down, 5 lines across, check you've got your 6 gaps. When you're done, come back and join us. Okay, here we go. Here is the challenge. So, first number. Here it is, 6,735. And I would like you to round that to the nearest 1,000, please. Okay, so 6,735 rounded to the nearest 1,000. And once you've rounded it, that number is going in your ladder. Where am I going to put that on my ladder? I'm hoping we'll do better than yesterday. Okay, ready for the next one? I've put mine in. Not 100% sure I put it in the right place, but I'm hoping I have. Okay, here's our next one. So here's our number, 2,129. 2,129, and I would like you to take away 100. Okay, so 2,129, take away 100, and then write that number in your ladder. So 100 less than that number. Have you done that one? Okay, ready for the next one. Next 4 cards, here they are. Oh, 5,673. 5,673. And I would like you to round that to the nearest 100. Okay, round to the nearest 100. What do you end up with? Pop it in your ladder. Doing okay so far. How are you doing? Right, ready for the next one. Here we go. Here it comes. 2,129. 2,129. And I would like you to round that to the nearest 1,000, please. Round that to the nearest 1,000. Oh, I might have a problem in a minute. Have you got that one in? Have you done it? Here comes the next one. 7,536. 7,536. And I would like you to subtract 10. Okay, so 10 less is the number I want you to put into your ladder. 10 less than 7,536. Oh, I've just about got a gap for that. Okay, here comes last one. I've got a space and it's right in the middle, so I really hope I haven't messed this one up. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. What have we got? 9,848. 9,848. And I would like you to subtract 1,000. Subtract 1,000. I'm feeling a bit miserable because I thought I was doing really well. I thought I was going to get them all in, but I didn't, because the last number with 8 was 9,848, and we took away 1,000, so we ended up with 8,848, and that needed to be at the top, and I didn't have a space at the top. So I've ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minus 1. I got a score of 4 today. Did you manage to beat me? So that's ladder extreme. So not only were we subtracting and adding, we were also rounding as well. So we had to think of all those things in our head before we even got the numbers on the ladder in the right order. Hope you got on. So loads of versions of that ladder game. If you want to play it with a friend, you can just agree what the rules are going to be before you start. And as long as you've got a set of playing cards or a dice to create your random 4-digit numbers, you can play against your family or your friends. So I hope you've been enjoying that game as we've been going along. Right, what else are we doing today? Let's have a look. It's a challenge. It's a thinking challenge today. So there are these place value counters. Splash has been using his place value counters, and he's been asked to make a number, and he started to make that number, and then him and his friend on the table he was working on have got their numbers all mixed up. They dropped them on the floor and they've got them all mixed up, and now they can't work out whether they've got the right counters or not. So these are the counters that he's got. That picture shows you the counters that he's got. He's supposed to be making the number 8,234. Okay, 8,234. What I want to know is, what does he need more of and what does he need less of? So you might find he's got the wrong number and he needs to get rid of some, or he needs more. Okay, so what I want you to do now is I want you to have a really good look at that picture, and I want you to decide, look at the thousands. Does he need more? Does he need less? If he needs more, you're going to put a plus and you're going to write how many more thousands he needs. If he needs less, you're going to write a subtraction. So I might need to say, oh, actually, I need 2,000 more. So I need 2 more 1,000 counters. Okay, and I'm going to write 2,000 counters next to it. So I'm going to write it as the number. And in fact, I'm going to write that as a word, 2, because it would get muddled up otherwise. So 2 1,000 counters. Okay, so I would pick up 2 of those blue counters. He needs 2 more blue counters. Or does he need to get rid of some? If he needs to get rid of some, you're going to put minus. So you're going to write the number and you're going to say how many counters that is. Okay, so I want you to have a really good look at that now. So you're going to end up telling me, what does he have to do with 1,000 counters? What does he have to do with 100 counters? What does he have to do with the 10 counters? And what does he have to do with the 1 counter? So you're going to end up with 4 pieces of information written down your page with 2 next to each one. So the total number that he needs plus or minus and how many counters that would be. Okay, and if you write the number of counters in words and then the size of the counter in numbers, we won't get in a muddle. Okay, off you go. How have you done? Do you think you've got it? Shall we have a look and see? So I'm going to move around the counter so it's easier for you to look at the answer. So here it is. I put behind it, I put a grid so it's a bit easier to see on the screen. But let's have a look. So the number we were looking for was 8,234. So let's sort the counters out to start off with. Let's put them in the right places. Here we go. Here's the 100. Let's sort those out. The 10s need to be in this column. That 100 needs to be over here. And those ones need to be over there. So the number we were trying to make was 8,234. So let's start with the thousands. Did we have the right number of thousands? Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, we didn't. We needed 8,000 and we've only got 5,000. So we need 5, 6, 7, 8. We need 3,000 more, which would be 3 1,000 counters. So that's the first thing Splash has got to do to get it right. Then we need to look at the hundreds. He's got 100, 200, 300. What do we need? We needed 200 because we wanted 8,234. So he needs to get rid of 100. So 100 counter. He must have picked that one up. It must have been his friend. So he needs to give that back to his friend. Right, then let's have a look at the tens. So in the tens, we've got 10, 20, 30, 40. And we needed 30. So he has got 10 too many. So he needs to give 1 10 counter back to his friend. And then finally, he needed, it was 8,234, the target. He's only got 3 in here, so he needed to add on 1. So he needs 1 counter. So he needs to give 100 and a 10 back to his friend, and he needs to get a 3, lots of 1,000, and 1 counter back to have the right number. Did you manage that? Did you get all of the steps in the right places? Did you manage to work out how he'd got in his model and how to sort it out? I hope you did. I'm sure you did because you're getting very good at this place value now. Right, let's see what's next, shall we? So the next thing we're going to do is a real challenge. It's going to involve some explaining our thinking because we've got very good at that. And it's going to involve some real perseverance until you get there. So this game is really good played with a partner. Okay? If you haven't got a partner, it's fine, but you do need to make sure you time yourself. So check the clock when you start and just give yourself 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It's up to you. You decide. But once you've done it, everybody has to stop. So if you're doing it with your partner, give them 5 minutes, or to say, agree, right, we're going to do this in 5 minutes, or we're going to do this in 10 minutes. And then you're going to solve the task, okay? So the task is quite strict. There's lots of rules to it that you must stick to. So the first thing is you have 2 sets of 0 to 9 cards. So to make the numbers we're going to make, you can only use each digit twice. So we've got 2 zeros, 2 ones, you can see them here, 2 twos, 2 threes, 2 fours. So this is where your playing cards or your 0 to 9 cards come in. Make sure you keep them to yourself, and whoever you're playing against keeps their cards and doesn't get them in a muddle like Splash did with his friend in the place value counters. The idea is to arrange these digits into those 5 boxes to make 4-digit numbers. So all the numbers are going to be 4-digit numbers, and we're doing lots of work on 4-digit numbers, so we should have no problem with that. And we have to get as close to the target number as possible. So the target number is the instruction written here, the rule for each box, okay? Largest odd number has to go in this box. The largest even number has to go in this box. The largest multiple of 3, the smallest multiple of 5, and the number closest to 5,000. But you can only use each digit once, although you've got 2 of them. You can't use a card more than once. So you've got 2 zeros, but once you've used those 2 zeros, you can't use them again. Okay, and you have to think about it. So odd and even we've talked about, so that's all to do with that units digit, isn't it? So think about that. Multiple means a number in that times table. So a number that's in the 3 times table or a number that's in the 5 times table. And then a number closest to 5,000. So you're going to rearrange them. I would suggest you write out, okay, those instructions on a piece of paper or in your book first, and then you start laying your cards out next to the rules, okay? You're going to need to keep moving them around because you might start with the first one and then go to the next one and go, oh no, I need a digit that I used up here. So you might have to keep changing them around until you've actually stuck to all of the rules, okay? Are you ready? Make sure you stick to the rules. Think about all those things you've learned about place value. Can you beat your partner, or can you do the best that you can in a time limit? So you're going to press pause, and you're going to press pause for either 5 or 10 minutes, depending on how long you want to spend on it. So 5 or 10 minute target time. Once you've agreed that target time, don't change it halfway through. Okay, so if you're going with 5 minutes, go with 5. If you're going with 10, go with 10. And then you're going to come back and we're going to talk about what you did, and you're going to write some explanations for me. Okay, ready? Off you go. Okay, how did you do? Did you manage it? Let's have a look at some examples. So what I want you to do now is I want you to leave your number cards where they are. Okay, don't change them. And I want you to start thinking about how you decided where to put the digits. So I've got some examples of things that other children have said when they've tried to make these numbers. So this first child was asked to make the largest odd number. And this is what they've made. They've made 9,875. And they've explained it like this. I decided the first one needed a 9 at the beginning, as it needed to be a large number. And we talked about that, haven't we? When we're ordering, the biggest digit is the one that's in the thousands column when you're doing 4-digit numbers, because it's worth the most. So it was really sensible to put a 9 in that thousands column. So that was a good idea. I also knew it needed an odd number in the units. So I chose a 5. So they've put a 5 in the units column. And they think that's the biggest, the largest odd number they can make. I don't know whether it is or not. You may have managed to find a bigger one, but that's how they explained it. Then another child I asked was talking about the smallest multiple of 5. So they were talking about this, and they made 0, 1, 1, 0. And they said, I knew the number had to end in a 0 or a 5 to be a multiple of 5. And that's right, isn't it? If we do the 5 times table, 5, 10, 15, 20, it always ends in a 0 or a 5. So they're absolutely right about that. So if you look at your answer that you've got, have you got a 0 or a 5 in that units column? Because if you haven't, it's not in the 5 times table. And then it says, I put a 0 in the ones and I use the other 0 in the thousands to make the number small. And look what Splash says. He's saying, Mrs. Aston, is 0110 a 4-digit number? I don't think it is. It has 4 digits, but we wouldn't normally put a 0 in the thousands column, would we? So I'm not convinced that's right. And so I think if you have got any zeros in your thousands column, you can't have it, because we wouldn't normally put a 0 in that 4th digit. So make sure you haven't got a 0 at the beginning. It has to be a 4-digit number, so there has to be at least a 1 in the thousands column. So I think you're right, Splash. I think that was a bit of a cheat. But it was a very good explanation of why they did it. So what I'm looking for now is some really good explanations. So I want you to choose 2 of the numbers that you have created, and I want you to explain how you created it and why you know it's correct. Okay, so you may not have got the largest multiple or the smallest multiple, but how did you decide? What was going on in your head when you created that number? So even if you haven't got the best answer, what were you thinking about? I want to know if you were thinking the right things, even if you didn't have time to come up with the best answer. So I want you to press pause, choose 2 of your numbers, and your partner's going to do the same thing. Choose 2 of your numbers and explain why you made them those numbers, okay? Off you go. How did you do? Did you do all right? I'm hoping you did, because we've got really quite good explanations now, haven't we? I'm sure your teachers will enjoy having a look at those when you go back to school. Right, if you want to play this game, it's probably nice to know how the rules work, isn't it? So I'm going to show you the rules now. So I want you to imagine these 3 children were playing the same game, okay? And we're going to have a look at each line in turn and work out who the winner of each round would be. So there is a point scoring system if you want to play this as a game with a partner or with 3 or 4 people. You get 10 points if you win the round, okay? And you get 5 points if you didn't win the round, but your number does stick to that target rule, okay? Right at the end, you have to do a double checking exercise. So you have to check and make sure the person has only used each digit twice. So if I look here, this person here, 0, 0, are there any more? No. 1, 1, yeah, that's okay. 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9. So they're okay. If you had like 4 9s in the answers, then you would lose 30 points because you haven't stuck to the rules of the game. But if you haven't duplicated and made more, that's fine. You don't get any subtractions at the end. So let's have a look and see who won the first round. So the largest odd number. So have they all got odd numbers? Yeah, that's an odd number. That's an odd number. That's an odd number. Perfect. Now we have to look who won. So who's got the biggest number here? Because we're looking for the largest odd number. This person's got 9,875. This person's got 900,873. This person's got 9,007. Oh, so it's 9,870. This one got 9,875, hasn't it? So child 1 would get 10 points. Child 2 and child 3 would get 5 points for that round. And then you go to the next round. So if we look at the last line, okay, number closest to 5,000, again, we have a look at those. We work out, they're all quite close to 5,000, aren't they? But who's the closest? Look, this one's only 2 away from 5,000, isn't it? So child 3 would get 10 points there, okay? And then you have to do that for each line. So we would do the same again for even numbers, and we'd know if it was an even number because the units digit would be an even number. So the units digit would be a 0, a 2, a 4, a 6, or an 8. We'd know if the people had got the answer right for the largest multiple of 5, because we've already talked about it would have a 0 or a 5 at the end, haven't we? The last one we haven't talked about is the largest multiple of 5. The largest multiple of 3. And the way we know which one is the largest, whether it's a multiple of 3 or not, is to do with a digit sum. So you can double check if everybody's got the right answer for this by adding together the digits within the number. So if I give you an example, so 6,330, okay? We add each number in this together. So we've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, if we added the digits together, and then if we add 1 and 2 together, we get 3. And that shows us it's in the 3 times table. If your digit sum is 3, 6, or 9, then it is in the 3 times table. Let's check the other one. So the other one, the child 2 had 5,532. Let's add the digits together. 5 add 5 is 10, add 3 is 13, add 2 is 15. And if we then digit sum this, 1 and 5 makes 6. So it is a multiple of 3. So if your digit sum is a 3, a 6, or a 9, then it's definitely a multiple of 3, and you definitely get 5 points. And then whoever gets the largest, whichever person got the largest number once you've checked that, would get the 10 points. Let's check the last child. So the last child said 7,443, 7,443. 7 add 4 is 11, add 4 is 15, add 3, 16, 17, 18, which gives us 1 and an 8. If we add that together, we get 9. So if your digit sum is 3, 6, or 9, you have got the correct multiple of 3. I wonder how many of you already knew that and whether you've actually got the right answer. So when you play it next time, you'll have an advantage against somebody who hasn't played this game if they're not sure. So remember that, and you can explain it to them. So 10 points for the winning round. 5 points if you stick to the rules and get the number. Make sure you check your multiples and your evens and odds and make sure that the people have managed to do those. And a horrible subtraction of 30 at the end if you've used each digit more than twice. That's the end of our game. All done for now. So the last bit we've got left. We've finished all of our lessons. If you want to do some more, these are a few links to help you, but you may well be going back to school tomorrow, or you may now have work from your teacher in your class to do. If you haven't and you want to keep busy, you can go to the TopSmart website. You can go to the Active Maths website that we've been using. That's the one that had the place value counters and the place value, the numbers that went up and we were counting with them. And that's also where the Dean's work was. We have got rocket rounding you can do on those websites. So there's lots of things you can do on those websites that we've already tried, and you can go back and have a look at my videos again. If there was a lesson you found tricky, you might want to do the whole video again and give it a really good try. Brilliant if you repeat things. That makes it really stick inside your mind. And then we've got those 3 games that we've played that you might want to do again. So the place value game, where we wrote the columns in and we threw the dice and we tried to beat our partner. The ladder game, we've done lots of versions of that, and we did the really tricky version, the extreme version today. You can make up your own rules for the ladder game. As long as you're putting them in order, you can decide what they have to do with each number that's created yourselves. And we've had lots of rounding challenges that you could have a go at. So keep working hard on that maths, keep that maths brain working. Thank you so much for joining us. Splash and I have had a wonderful time sharing our math learning with you. And hopefully you're heading back to school or you've got lots of maths work to keep you busy. Well done for persevering. Well done for working so hard on explaining your thinking. I know that was really tricky. Fantastic job. Have a lovely day and hopefully you'll be back in your school learning soon.